Hello everyone, welcome back to Scrape Metal and Roll, the Limited Adhesion podcast. This is the episode talking about Season 10 of Prime. The first round has just been completed, and with our brand new split structure of gold, silver and bronze, I'm joined by the three race winners to discuss all the action. First up then, he is the winner of the bronze split. It's James Renwick. How you doing, James?
Hi Gareth, yeah, not too bad, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Yeah, looking forward to hearing your side of the race. And next up then, winner of the silver split and taking the overall podium, P3. Congratulations to you. It's Dom Parker. How you doing, Dom?
Woo! Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, good, thank you, mate. Yep, welcome to the podcast. Finally managed to get you nailed in. So you didn't really have any, you couldn't just go.
I've been
avoid
as
it this time.
slippery as a buttered eel, but yeah,
Yes.
eventually managed to grab hold of me, and here I am. Hello.
Not quite as slippery as Jules, though. I'm going to have to nail him down at some point. And finally, then, our gold split winner, his second time on the podcast. Welcome back to Rob Miller. How you doing, Rob?
Thank you, Gareth. Doing fine, thank you.
Excellent stuff. Cool. Well, let's start with you then, Dom, because, as I say, you haven't been on the podcast before. I know most people who listen to this probably know who you are, but why don't you give us a little overview of your history?
I'm Dom and I'm a nerd. You'll need to direct me. What avenue should we take?
Well, how did you get into sim racing, and how did you find the league?
Sim racing was a Corona legacy. Sadly for me, I spent most of that Corona summer just watching, and then once kind of lockdown, furlough and all that crap finished, got back to work and saved a few pennies and thought, you know what, this looks fun, let's give it a go ourselves. And it was actually then Jules who lassoed me from a different Discord. Because I do the videos from time to time, apparently less and less consistently by the month, but we were both in a different Discord for another guy that also does YouTube stuff. And yeah, so they had a post your video section, and keep seeing Jules posting these videos, and eventually I was like, what's this all about then, Jules? What's going on? And yeah, it sort of went from there. So was it GT3 Season 4, something like that? Rob and Gareth, you'll probably be able to direct me a bit better. It's the season opener was at Road America, and I think there was some risky incidents.
It usually is, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
It's usually risky instance.
Yeah, I mean, I started skipping the GT3s at that point because I'm just so terrible at them. I wasn't enjoying it. Hence the setting up the USF 2000 Championship in the end.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, fair play. But yeah, so joined in kind of on the agreement that I was going to take over from Adam Highfield, who was just starting to step back, wasn't he, at that point, in the
Sadly
running
missed,
of the GT3, and also doing the videos at that point. So yeah, it kind of blossomed from there as I had more time to do stuff and could get my fingers deeper and deeper into the pies, and now I've manifested myself like a leech that you'll never get rid of.
I think I'd be devastated if you actually ever did leave. You know, you're one of the most important people in the league to me now. So yeah, you can't leave really.
Stuck here forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and obviously one of the admin and the runner of our TCR championship. So we've got the season 3 of TCRs, which will be the sprint season 1. So give us a little preview. What are you looking forward to that? Should be a monster grid.
Yeah, I've been doing like the spreadsheet we were joking about just before we started recording here. Been setting up the spreadsheets, and I'm actually a little bit disappointed to say that I don't think the grids will be as big as the Indycar race was here at Interlagos. So come on, everyone, get them sign-ups in. Let's see you on the grid. But I think what we've always tended to find with the TCR is that generally the amount of people that do sign up do end up racing. So yeah, hopefully looking for around about 30 cars again for this season, which should be fun and also maybe interesting at some of the smaller tracks.
Yeah, totally. And Phillip Island, round 1, it's a track I really like, but my God, it's difficult on cold tires in a TCR, isn't it? Just skating on at T1.
Yeah, 100%. But like, we've not raced Philly since, was that 3 season 5, or like Prime season 5, something like that. So
yeah,
same thing.
exactly.
I was looking through the options on iRacing of what tracks we could run, and saw Philly Island. I was just like, yeah, we're going back there for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad because I really like it, and I'm resisting running the IndyCar around there until we've got TCR in the bag because I don't want my head to get messed up trying to take T1 flat in the IndyCar and then trying to run the TCR.
Can you imagine trying to doing practice sessions back to back, like doing one car then the other, and then skipping backwards and forwards? It'd just be a mess.
Oh god, yeah, no, it'd be horrendous. Yeah, and obviously we did talk about this earlier. You're a new father now, as of late last year. So how's it going with Spud, as you call him?
Yeah, it's going really well. Honestly, it's been an absolute dreamboat so far. So big shout out to wifey as well for all her hard work that she does with him. And it's been a fun little new challenge to take on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so funny that it was both you and Merrin becoming dads at the same sort within a couple of weeks or something. Wasn't it? It was very close together.
Absolutely. I think Merrin's little one was a little bit early in the end, wasn't he? But I think due dates were gonna be not the same sort of thing, but we're gonna be within about a month of each other. I think at one point. So yeah, I think we're only just a couple of months apart now. So yeah, pretty cool. The next generation of LoA is already amongst us.
Yeah, it's terrifying stuff.
Although I guess like with Dan, if you ever come back, and James Pepper and the like, I guess that sort of second generation's already here anyway, isn't they? So
yeah, very true. Yeah.
Speaking of, your offspring was messaging a few of us the other day. Is he coming to join us?
Eventually, yes. So
Nice.
Actually quite exciting. I've had an offer from Steve Pepper. I'm talking of Peppers. Steve's going to lend me his CSL DD.
Let's go.
Yeah, which means I can set up. I have got a cheap little rig sitting in the shed for Dills, so we'll get him set up, and he'll have to practice a lot before I let him anywhere near the league.
That'd be mega though. That'd be proper cool.
That'd be great. Yeah, he's got to learn how to use a brake pedal and turn and all that sort of stuff. Because last time we tried him, he wasn't very good, but we'll get there. Let's move on then to talk about Prime and the Dallara IR18. Rob, obviously you seem to gel with the car incredibly well with your victory. So is this the sort of car you like driving?
I didn't think it would be. I've kind of naturally liked the lower powered open wheel cars. So I was a bit nervous and I didn't really jump into it till quite late. I haven't been in the rig very much recently, and I suddenly looked at Garage 61 and realised that people had accrued 10 hours of practice, and suddenly thought, well, I need to do something about this. So, but from the first laps I turned, it feels quite a natural car to drive. It's much heavier on the steering, a lot of downforce, and need to get braking done whilst you're at high speed, and it seemed to suit my style, I think. I don't know
you
whether
were
maybe
hot in
it's
the
just
F3
set up
as well, to be fair, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. I didn't like. What was the last high-powered car we drove? It's the Lotus.
Yeah.
I really didn't get on with that. So I was hoping it wasn't be a repeat of that.
I mean, I struggle with both, to be fair. So yeah. What is the secret then? So you were saying like braking from. So you're braking really fast down to slow the car down.
Yeah, it seems to be with a car with downforce. It seems to be to get a lot of braking, turning done when you've got high load on the car, and then being a lot more progressive on the throttle than some of the other cars we've driven. I think F3 and F4, you just stamp on, mash the pedal as hard as you can on the exits, and it doesn't matter. It seems a bit different, and I quite like the strategy aspect of it as well. So I actually spent Saturday doing a sort of half an hour of a few strategy type things, 2 different tyres, how long it takes for tyre changes, how long the fuel takes. So it adds another element to it.
Yeah, it does, and that because obviously the race format has completely changed for this season. We've gone away from our 2 sprint 15-minute races to 1 40-lap race, as it was round Interlagos, which was about 15 minutes or something, wasn't it? I think in the end.
Yeah, I think about that.
And but with a 50% limited fuel tank, so we were all basically on a 3-stopper. Although I think didn't Merrin do a 2-stop because of your damage and just eked it out or something?
Yeah, I think he'd been playing around with that kind of idea through the week, and I think after his spin on the opening lap, I think he kind of felt like had nothing more to lose because I think he'd already had to fast repair on the end of that lap, so he was just like, well, might as well try it.
Yeah.
I did a few laps, and it seemed to be just naturally. He did about 10 laps. It's kind of split into 3 even stints, it felt. So it didn't feel as though it was ever worth trying to do anything different.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I picked up damage on lap 6 with a collision with Pavel, which kind of so I never really got to experience how it would break down. I think I did 4 stops plus the drive through, and then the DQ on the final tour, as we mentioned earlier. So yeah, James, tell us about how you finding the car compared to the F4.
Yeah, just a bit more intimidating, I think. Just as I was getting to grips with the F4, I felt we've switched cars, but and like another car to learn. But no, it's good fun. I like the strategy element with the different tires and stuff like that. And when they finally bring rain to it, it's gonna be really fun, really interesting. So yeah, good.
It's gonna be a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't want to say it, but you know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm looking forward to that at all, actually. So yeah. And Dom, was this a car that you thought you'd like, or I mean,
no?
It seems like you got a good result out of it, though. So
through the off season when we were doing those races, it was the Knockhill race. I was on voice chat with a couple of the riskies, and I think Messenger sort of hit the nail on the head the best. And he kind of, he couldn't really put his finger on it first, and they was just like, I think the car is just too fast for me. And that's like exactly what I was thinking. It just everything just seems to happen at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Just cling on, try and enjoy the ride, and if you see the checkered flag in one piece, then happy days.
yeah, I mean, I felt like such an old man because I was driving around in practice thinking the car is too fast for me. So I was very worried that I was just like, yeah, old man shouts at clouds because I can't do it.
It all happens very quickly, doesn't it? You're grabbing
It
up
does.
shifts continuously, and corners come at you pretty quickly. We were doing 1 minute 15 or second laps around Interlagos.
Well, you probably
so
were.
Yeah.
I can't relate to that.
It's mega fast.
Yeah.
It just gathers speed, doesn't it? It's the acceleration is just ridiculously fast, and yet when you jump into the Mercedes F1 car, it's another level beyond that. I mean,
Try not to drive that too much.
to remind you of work too much.
It twists your mind a bit too much, I think.
It does, yeah. I mean, I've only got the was it the W12, the one before the black one, and I mean, I love it. It's just a beautiful car and it's fun, but my God, yeah, it's too quick for me.
I can't imagine anything faster than that Indycar. I don't own it, so I've never driven it, but yeah, that must be mad. How these guys concentrate for like 2-hour races in these things is beyond me.
I think you have to when you're actually travelling that fast, don't you?
Yeah, you die.
Yeah.
Survival of the fittest a little bit.
Yeah.
But then you hear these conversations about like, oh yeah, driver so and so was watching the big screens as he was going around the track and following the race from the big screens, and it's like,
Yeah.
how?
Not much to do on the straight, is there?
Well, yeah.
You get into a rhythm on the straight, and
True.
We know ourselves, it's like setting up pit stops and tyres and all that crap.
yeah.
You've got time to do it down the straights, haven't you, when there's no one around you, so...
So Dom, you started from P6, so I think you're probably the best place to tell us about the opening lap, because Rob was ahead of it all, so kind of probably just saw it in his mirrors briefly. But tell us your view of the opening lap, because there was a lot of incidents.
Yeah.
Probably caused some.
I honestly, once I got to the end of the race and looked back through the replay, I couldn't believe that only the two cars that I saw spin were the only ones caught up in that first bit, because like Merrin spinning from the inside to the outside of the track from P2 at that point, sort of across the whole field. You think there's going to be just a 20-car pile up here. Somehow everyone managed to avoid him, which GG's to everyone. But yeah, so a little bit of netcode contact, sadly, a bit of ghost contact from Merrin, put him on the curb, didn't it? And it looked like he'd got it gathered up, and then suddenly you see him spear back and get spat into the wall, and then, like I say, coming across the track. And I think it was Philip that was in front of me, wasn't it? And he had to kind of dodge him. And I think maybe as he's dodged him and lifted a little bit, that's just then settled him, and he's gone around. Then I've tried to dodge and I've lifted, and I had a little twitch as well. So I was only like a millisecond away from going around myself. But yeah, thankfully for me, the seas parted, and I managed to survive down to, is it T4 by that point?
Yeah. So were you in P3 by that point then? At the end of T4 of lap 1?
Yeah, I think I must have been because Rob, obviously you were in the lead. I think there was Dave behind you, and then I was behind Dave. So yeah, I think Maxwell was behind me, and Alex was still making his way up through the ranks at that point. So I think, that put me
and
third
did Alex pass you on track? Did he?
Yeah, second stint. I think I wanted the primes pretty early on because going into it, I still wasn't entirely sure what my tyre strategy was going to be. I know we sort of did that practice session, that practice race in the week, and I tended to feel better on the reds. Didn't really fall off like I thought they were going to do.
Agreed.
And when I did go onto the primaries in that race, they just felt horrendous. But then I didn't know whether that was just like track temp related or like track wear related or what it was. So I said to myself pretty early on, needed the reds for quality to get up the grid. We'll do a second stint on the blacks so that we can compare them, and then we'll do the rest of the race from that point. And just like in that practice race, the blacks just felt horrendous. They were slow. Alex got past me. Dave caught back up and was super close on the back as well, and I was just like, we're going to need to go reds the rest of the way. So that's what I did.
Yeah, Dave finishing less than, just exactly a second behind you, actually. 23.3 interval to Rob and 24.3 for Dave. So, very close between you guys.
Yeah, I don't want to take anything away from that gap. I definitely just coasted along the finish line just in relief, I think. I think I just, like where they... like you come around the final kink onto the pit straight, don't you? And I think I just clutched in and just rolled across the line, just like, don't do anything that's going to make you crash from this point.
Yeah. No, bringing it home for a podium is fantastic.
We had some mega battles, though. I think we'd spent about, it wasn't a half lap, but we had some good side-by-side battles, me and Dave. He came and sniffed my butt a couple of times. That was...
revolting.
Yeah. Not very PG, but we'd passed the watershed by that point, so it was all fair game. But no, some good battling. So yeah, I got past Dave, but then Alex got past me. So from my P3 that I was by kind of middle of lap 1, pretty much where I stayed for the rest of it.
Yeah. And James, starting P20, and you actually finished, you were the P14, the last of the runners on the lead lap. So massive congratulations on doing that, because that's no mean feat out of 34 cars. Tell us how was your first lap? Was it? I mean, because I was back there with you, and it's pretty chaotic from my seat.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I think seeing Philip Miles spin was kind of heartbreaking because he put in an absolutely rapid lap to qualify. I think P4. So I think he's going to be a bit of a danger for the rest of the season if he keeps up that kind of pace. So yeah, I was sort of heartbroken to see him spin there. But yeah, it just everything sort of went a bit. Well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it went a bit tits up for the rest of the race, or the rest of that lap. So,
Can I add a +1 for Philip's spin as well? I was well looking forward to the scrap.
Yeah, for sure. I think he had some proper pace on him, but so you guys got to kind of dodge it. You weren't involved in the boot. Gareth and I, we were in the trenches. We were ducking left and right to dodge stuff. So, can you confirm, Gareth? I don't know. You don't have to tell me. Were safety cars enabled?
They were, yeah.
They were, and that didn't bring out a safety car. That blows my mind.
Yeah,
I was sure it was come out.
Yeah, I think because we had that Phantom one, didn't we, in the USF, and that kind of made us believe that they'd not patched it or fixed it necessarily, but that maybe safety cars were going to be a thing. So they'll be enabled. Is it Prime and Endurance? We can have them on. TCR, I'm not going to bother because the race is so short anyway that I don't want 14 or 15 laps behind a safety car. It'd just be pointless. But it's more to see if Road America was a bug or if we are actually going to get some safety cars for a bit of strategy.
Does it depend on like the track length? So like if they think you can obviously get clear and all that by the time you get round, does it not come out? Or if it's a short lap?
I think the USF one was probably a bug. Like everyone was surprised that it happened. We've never seen it before.
Does it depend on whether you towed or not? So if you tow quickly,
it doesn't seem to be.
Not? Okay.
I've done loads of AI race testing and stuff like that, and the AI can sometimes bin it, but nothing brings out a safety car.
See, I wonder if it's because Steve was in the wall at Road America, and then I lost it, seeing him sort of dropped it, and then I think I crashed into him, and I think that's what triggered the safety car. I don't know though, but it seemed to be. I wonder if it was because it was something that would in real life would definitely be a safety car. I don't know, but it's just weird, isn't it? I don't know how to trigger one. Maybe we need to do some tests and stuff and have a bit of carnage and see if we can actually trigger it and understand what those parameters are.
I mean, I've purposely sent it like T-boning into 5AI on T1 just to see what would happen, and nothing happens. It's like I desperately tried to make safety cars come out on like on road tracks, and it just doesn't happen. So yeah, I don't know.
That's weird. Yeah. So as I say, it was enabled, but it just didn't happen, did it? So a bit of a shame, because it probably would have bunched the field right. Well, would have been not good for Rob's blood pressure, I guess. But
or mine.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'd have been keen for that gap closing up, to be honest.
No. And Rob, I'm interested because I'm looking at the results thing, and it's saying that you did your fastest lap on lap 2. So
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive. Like a very heavy full tank of fuel and cold tyres and that.
Well, the red tyres woke up pretty quickly. I was almost a bit surprised looking pre-event at Alex's comments on the hard tyres. I guess similar to Dom. I just found the red tyres turned on much quicker. First laps were miles faster, and they didn't drop off to the extent that everyone else seemed to suggest they did. So when I tested it, it felt obvious that I was going to do as many stints as I could on the reds. But really similar to you, Dom, I actually did a swap in stint 2, just to confirm that, because I thought maybe I got this wrong, maybe the tyres are wrong, or maybe something is wrong here, because I got to the end of stint 1 and thought the reds felt good. I could have probably done a few more laps.
I actually lost my reds the last sort of 3 corners of stint 1. And I don't know what I'd done differently on that lap, but suddenly every corner I just went sailing like a barge boat. I guess that was probably a good thing, because it meant on stint 3 and 4 I was just that little bit more careful on them.
Yeah, it seemed like they've lasted perfectly-ish for 10 laps, so luckily it wasn't 11.
Yeah, literally. I'm interested to see when the fuel does get mixed up for subsequent races, how that changes things, because it will. There'll be much more kind of tyre strategy coming into it, won't there?
It seems you guys did the smart thing and actually tested this before the race. I was a bit naive, and when I realised how off the pace I was just hot lapping, and I didn't really give much thought to fuel and tyres, because everyone was saying it's just a certain 3-stopper, you don't have to worry about it. I didn't realise how thirsty the car is, and I had to stop for a 4th stop on the penultimate lap for 1.9 litres, so I didn't risk stalling before the line, and I lost 2 positions because of that. And I think I passed Gavin Kelly, spluttering along, and then Timon Slutz was spluttering along the line as well, but I didn't quite beat him to the line. So I think a few people took the gamble, but I was like, I've done this before and ended up not finishing, so I'm not doing it. I'll stop for 1.9 litres and just take whatever position I get. But yeah, that was a blunder from my end that I won't repeat next time.
Yeah, I just did one sort of fuel tank's worth of hard tyres, 1 fuel tank worth of soft, and just see how many laps I got into it, and realise that it's just about split for 3 stop, basically, really equal stints.
Is there anything to the? I guess it's not a theory, but are the fast guys using less fuel because they're carrying more speed into the corners, do you reckon?
I don't know. I was using like 3.3-ish.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm not sure I agree with that motion that like the faster cars are. I don't think it pans out like that.
Does it not?
I think just generally the average lap speed will be the average lap speed.
Right.
Fuel usage, sorry.
Yeah. I wasn't quite sure about that.
It can't be much different, can it? With any of us running a lap, it's got to be within 5% or something, you'd imagine.
Yeah.
And I ran the whole thing in map 1, and everyone was talking about which fuel maps to run and all this kind of jazz. And
did you do any lift and coast?
No.
No, not at all. Wow.
No lift and coast. Sorry, the last few laps I backed off a bit just to bring it home. So I lost a second lap to Alex in the last 5 laps, and I didn't want to crash at that point. Seemed a bit silly.
But you had such a gap, it wasn't a problem, was it?
Well, I think most of the race it looked on the deltas, and it was about 10 to 12 seconds, which Alex was rapid because he was on the hards most of the time, and then he got onto the softs in the final stint. And I bet he looks back at it and thinks maybe I should have done more soft stints, because he was properly rapid at the start of his final stint. And I don't think I saw his times go off much. So I found when I did some testing, the soft tyres went off, but never to the extent that they were slower than the equivalent hard tyre lap. So you start
I had-
faster.
Yeah, I had Rich Meesters behind me when I was on the prime tyre and he was on the alternate, and Rich was definitely faster than me this round, no question. I mean, we know he's improved significantly with his race pace and stuff, but he couldn't pass me, even though he was definitely like using push to pass and getting. We had a nice little dice through the centre S1 lap, but yeah, he just couldn't make the move stick, even though I was on the hard. So I was a little surprised by that, and then he ended up sort of falling away a little bit. As I don't know if maybe he felt that his soft tyres were going off towards the end of that stint. But
I think this
yeah, it was
car might be
interesting.
quite hard to pass. I came up to a couple of back markers that didn't move over for a few laps, and even with probably a second-ish lap delta, it didn't feel very easy to get past people. I don't know how anyone
Yeah.
else felt. It feels a hard car to follow and get past.
Yeah, you got to force your way through, don't you?
It's really weird because they're a really draggy car. So when you are in the draft or something, you seem to pull up on them like mad fast. But then on the flip side, I agree with what you're saying. It did seem somehow then difficult to actually overtake anything.
Into corners, it felt quite understeery. It just changed the balance of the car quite a lot, and
Yeah,
I found it
wonder how
quite
much of
difficult
it's
to follow.
kind of like aero washing, just making it weird.
It's a big old chunky monkey as well, though, isn't it? I mean, like you think you could go 4 wide with the F4, but there's no chance of that with this car.
Well, I'm sure someone will try it. Like we'll try it at some point. It won't end
Maybe a
pretty,
3
but-
wide. But yeah.
What's the widest track we're going to? I'm trying to think. It's
don't
like
know,
a big
actually.
GP, so I'm trying to find the calendar. Hold that thought.
Yeah,
Colin.
you have a look at the calendar, and while you're doing that, I will talk through the results a bit. So, obviously, Rob winning the race from Alex Murphy, Dom on the podium, but it was David Lyon who picks up the gold third place, ahead of Mike Murphy, Juan Alberto Escobar, who is new to the championship, so welcome to you, Juan, Oliver Ettridge, and then Russell Bright in P8. And then we'll have a look at silver. It was Dom picking up the win from Simon Geimer, and Stephen Maxwell in third. Had Philip Miles, nice recovery drive from Philip after that awful spin, and then Ryan Tazewski, he was in fifth in silver. Looking a little further down then, we've got yourself, James, obviously winning bronze split ahead of Rich Meesters and Jiao Tomei. So and then myself, even though I got DQ'd on the final tour. And then Chris Forrester, Steve Pepper, Carlos Navarro, and Stephen McCann, who Carlos and Stephen sadly disconnecting quite early on. So, yeah, hopefully they'll be back raring to go in the next round.
Side note
Have
for
you
Joao grabbing the overall fastest lap.
Yeah, very, very impressive stuff. I mean, Jiao is so fast. I was racing him in the LMP3 last season, and he is a very
I
quick
saw him
rider.
practice in quali. He looked rapid.
Yeah.
I don't know how he's managed to fluff his way to bronze, but we'll see how that pans out.
Yeah, look at that.
I found our 4-wide track, by the way.
Well done. Where is it?
It'll be Montreal.
Not that wide, is it?
Where do you
No,
go for? Why?
Indianapolis. I think we'll manage 4 down Indianapolis straight.
Yeah, but that's not very long, that straight, actually. The oval track, you don't really use the oval very much, do you?
I feel like that's the perfect scenario then. So whoever's like the leading of the 4 is going to fluff it, and then the other 3 are going to have an overrun, and they'll just scatter, and they'll just have this picturesque 4, maybe even 5 wide across the line. It'll be glorious, honestly.
Yeah, and it's a horrible braking zone into T1. Very, very slow. It's going to be a plane crash pile up. So, Dom, as you've got the calendar up, why don't you run us through the next 9 rounds?
Okay, that's assuming that's still got it up. Click, click, click. So yeah, Phillip Island's next up. Then it'll be Hock after that. Looking forward to Hock. We like Hockenheim.
Mm-hmm.
Nürburgring. And then Road America. See if we get a full course yellow there or not. And then it looks like then it's going to be that summer break. And then it is Indianapolis, Spa, Barber. That'll be an interesting one. Montreal, and then finishing at Suzuka in November.
It's a pretty exciting calendar, actually, isn't it?
Spicy.
Barber's going to be mental with that triple chicane thing. I don't know if you guys have driven Barber much, but...
Nope. Not done a lap.
There's some tricky corners there. So, yeah, it's going to be really weird trying to fit the Indycar through there. So I might have to go and watch some real life stuff and see how they do it. So, yeah. Rob,
Yeah.
we were joking before about how you were the bridesmaid many a time in our championships.
Yeah. I don't seem to be able to win a championship. I can come close,
Well,
but
you know,
not win.
you've opened this one in the perfect manner. Although you won, didn't you win the first race of season 2 in the Skippy as well? I think.
Pass. I'd say it feels like I should have had a couple, but
Yes.
never come together to make it.
Well, how
Make it a
confident are you
result.
feeling about this one?
I don't think I'm missing many rounds with sort of real racing, so which is good. So at least can do a few dropped. Bit worried about the pace on some of the people in the league. They look very rapid. Alex always rapid, and some of the newcomers are also extremely rapid. And I don't think you can take a result of one track and say the car suddenly works. It might just be this track. There are a few tracks I particularly like, and this is probably one of them. So.
Although Alex is doing a lot of karting this season, so he's not going to be available, and he's kind of written himself out of the championship.
Oh, don't listen to him.
Contention.
Don't listen to that. That's the excuse of someone that's going to try harder. I think he was got a bit upset, I think, at practice time, because it developed to quite a nice setup for the car. That's a good shout out to Alex. I was using his setup for the race, and it felt really nice. It was faster than the standard iRacing one.
Yeah, thank you for that.
And yes,
Alex.
Russell, Alex was using Alex's set.
Do you not think he was? Or
In Russell's video, he was saying, "No, I'm not sure that Alex is using the
Give
setup
everyone a
that he's made."
I don't know where he got it from, or whether he developed it all himself, but it seemed really nice. It felt like half second quicker than the iRacing baseline setup.
Yeah,
So.
he created it, I believe.
Oh,
I don't know
good
what was
job.
the starting point that he went from, but yeah, he's made it.
I suppose we know if the setup stopped flowing further into the season, we'll know he switched to try hard mode, or he doesn't
Yes.
share his secrets.
Yeah.
I wonder whether that will happen, because his times in practice looked. The first few laps I looked at it and thought that is not achievable as a lap time, but time started to come quite quickly, and I managed to pip it just. And I think he spent a bit of time trying to get it back, but by that
Well, it
point,
was like me in quali, to be fair. Like, up until I set my lap that put me on P6, I think it was like 14th or 17th, something like that. Like, absolutely nowhere, and then just suddenly a lap just seemed to appear. I was like, oh,
when
well,
you look
I'll
at the
take
quali
it.
times, it was so close. The top, I think there was a tiny bit of a gap, sort of first, second, third-ish, but then third down to 10th was like 2/10 or something. It was so tight.
Quali was quite challenging to get clean air with so many cars on the grid, I'll be honest.
Yeah, that's why the sessions are that bit longer.
Yeah.
With it being the open quali, so adds a bit of spice, adds a bit of realism to it.
Oh,
guess.
I think it's best. Like I like it more than the closed sessions, because I think it
Yeah.
just adds another element to it. So I'm not complaining about that, but yeah.
Definitely does
No,
make
it's
it a bit
more
more of a
enjoyable.
challenge, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dom, which as we wrap up which tracks are you most looking forward to in the Prime season ahead? Obviously, Hockenheim, as we mentioned. But...
Flicks back to the calendar again.
The answer is always Spa, by the way. That is the
no,
default answer.
No, I'm a Crichton loyalist. Spa is not the one.
Ah,
Don't vibe with it. Don't know why. I just, you know. It's
Well, go back and watch him trying to do that 3 wide in our F3 race there, where he had the plane crash. I think it was with Tour, actually, wasn't it?
That move was on.
Was it not on?
Sure, and I want to say it was Chris Forrester.
Yeah, I think it might be. Yeah, Chris, let us know.
Philly, Hawk, and Road America. I think are the ones I'm keeping my eye on.
That sounds
I
like a
think
nice blend.
Montreal will be funny. I don't fancy my chances, but I think it'll be funny. And yeah, same with Suzuka. I've never really vibed with Suzuka very much, so we'll see how that one pans out for me.
Yeah, and James, it's looking like an exciting battle down in the bronze split with yourself and Rich, and Zhao obviously, and really interesting to see what Carlos Navarro and Chris Forrester especially can do when they have a clean race. Not forgetting Stephen McCann as well. So yeah, what tracks are you looking forward to?
I think Suzuka, to be honest. I like ending on it. It's always a good one to end on. So yeah, that's one I'm looking forward to. I think Spa as well is always good fun. Always a lot of action there. Yeah, thanks for reminding me that Zhao's in bronze. That's like when the moment he turns it on, it's just going to be over. But he's so fast. But yeah, looking forward to a bit of a battle with Rich and Carlos, and even yourself, Gareth, as well. Are you in? Yeah, no,
I'm in bronze. Yeah,
yeah, you're in bronze. Yeah.
yeah.
So that'll
because
be
I had
fun.
so many incidents in the last couple of seasons of open wheel.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I
It
think
wasn't
that's what's
essential.
kept Joao down in bronze, isn't it? It's like we're saying, mad fast, but I think he's been caught up in a couple of incidents. It's just kept the rating down. So, which is
Yeah.
probably evidenced because where's his finishing position at Interlagos? There, I'm just looking around.
22nd overall.
So, an incident of some description, I assume.
It was pretty much the fastest lap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's been exciting stuff. So let's wrap it up then. And as we say, we've got 9 more rounds of Prime to go, and then we've also got the Sprint Season 1 starting with the TCR, and Endurance with the GTPs versus GT3s, which is going to be really exciting. Long race with overlapping cars and strategies in the chaos. Hopefully the good kind. So.
And maybe an Ollie Walker.
Really?
Yeah, Ollie. It sounds like he's going to be showing up. Yeah.
Revival.
A revival, yeah. No, it'd be nice to see him back on the grid. So, yeah, not just racing slot cars with me, as he does each month. So. So I want to say a big thank you and congratulations once again to Rob Miller, to Don Parker, and to James Renwick for their wins at Interlagos and for joining me on this podcast. So yeah, goodbye, guys.
Thanks
It's
for
been a
having me.
pleasure.
Thanks very much.
It's been awesome having you on, and we'll talk to you all next time. Bye bye.
Bye.